These are not going to be very good reviews. This is more of a writing challenge, quote unquote, for me to just write a little quote unquote review on a couple of video games with at least 100 words, which is a very extremely low bar. So not much is going to be said on most of these. We're going to do this in kind of a made-up order. Generally, the first ones I'm talking about I like more than the later ones, generally. For Factorio. Factorio is the best automation game I've ever played. As all automation games go, it's a cycle of A plus B equals C, then A plus C equals D, then C plus D equals E, and so on and so forth. But the things that make Factorio different from a game like Satisfactory is due to the raw scale of resources and items that Factorio's engine can handle. You don't see Megabase builds as grand as Factorio's in Minecraft mod packs or Shapes or Satisfactory. And that's another thing Factorio has over the grand scale of some Minecraft automation packs. It's generally pretty trivial to get resources in Factorio. Most of the time it's not spent locating resources, it's spent automating ways to move those resources to your base, creating factories to turn those items to other items. It's not the same as Minecraft grind session, and that is for the better, I think. I'll be honest, I wanted to say how the biters, a constant threat you have to deal with to expand your factory, are a very unique concept that almost no other automation game has, or at least not to this degree. But I actually enjoyed the game a lot more with biters disabled. If it wasn't obvious already, the automation is the fun part for me. While the price is extremely up there, especially for someone like me who usually spends like $5 to $15 on games, $35 is out of this world for me. Luckily, I was able to try the game out through Steam Family. Then from there, I bought the game because the mod manager only lets you use it if you own the game. But if you don't have a Steam Family then that buys good games, I have heard that the demo for the game is many hours long. Better than running the 2-hour Steam refund clock. Next up, Due Process. I haven't really enjoyed the gameplay of many tactical games in a long time. I only ever play Counter-Strike to interact with random people on the internet, but this game changes the way you think about tactics in an FPS game to a whole different level. The randomly generated maps, it's not exactly random, but force you and your team to come up with a full plan on a map that no one has seen before. I mean, technically, I've seen a lot of these already. It is a level of on-the-spot thinking that brings joy to my heart. I have long forgotten all the CSGO smoke lineups I once knew when I was like 14. But in a world like Due Process, it is at the very least not expected for you to know some crazy lineup because there's like 150 maps. I have nothing more to add this second in time, so I'm just going to close off on the randomness of the procedural generation. The game is a map pool of 150 maps. Those maps start as a procedural generation, but then a map maker has to spend 10 to 30 minutes adding doors, changing some of the geometry of the level. It's not pure random, for better or for worse. One negative part of this fake randomness is that you can learn the maps. You can see the map for 5 seconds, say, "I've played this map before!" and tell your team the plan you did last time you were given this map. It gives you a head start in making an even better plan, but what can you do? I love Due Process, yippee. ULTRAKILL. I am not good at FPS games, but I was capable of enjoying ULTRAKILL on its default setting, except for the prison bosses. I think this game is very well done in its ability to make every gun feel like it has a use, and forces you to use it through the score multiplier. Unlike other games that support using full arsenal via ammo limitations, ULTRAKILL does it with its scoring system. The scoring system is what really makes the game special, I think. The game has a special P rank that you can get for S ranking your kills, time, and style while also not dying. This requires you to beat the level quickly while also eliminating all the enemies. The existence of the style helps with the player doing less cheese to beat the level quickly and still gain a P rank. The main way of upping that style is obviously through doing cool shit, but the game also wants to push you to switch weapons. So the more style you build with a particular weapon, the less fresh it becomes. Less fresh results in lower multiplier for style points. This makes you not just want but need to switch weapons if you want an easier time getting that increased score. Every level in this game feels unique, and then I ran out of juice on what else to say. This is the end of it. Ctrl Alt Ego. Past me put this one in bullet points for some reason, so we're reading it like this. I dislike Deus Ex and have not finished Prey. This game scratches the exact itch that I want from an ImSim. The knowledge that I could do this in a different way. You start the game with very limited upgrades, especially compared to endgame. But you already have different ways to get through a room. You could use a pup to sneak through. You could use the dad to get through an area. You could blow up the dad to get through. You could stack boxes. You could just fly over. The existence of the bodiless ego results in a lot of unique out-of-the-box thinking compared to other ImSims, I think. Fallen Aces. A great setting and really fun level exploration. The vibe of the 1920s mob and goons is straight Kino. I think the story so far is fine. I've been more interested in the exploration of the level and stealth more than the world and characters, I won't lie. Obviously, it's got the ImSim elements of having different ways to solve problems. Do I use a bottle to lure this guy over and stealth kill him one by one? Do I lure all these people into one spot and use an environmental mechanic such as an oil spill and light them all up in one go? Or do I just walk around all of them and ignore the encounter entirely? I feel like I should talk a little bit about the blindfolded speedrun that I did of the first 2 levels, but I reached my quota of 100 words, so I'm moving on. I Am Your Beast. One of the best speedrunning games I've played in a while. In reality, this game is more of a skill rating to get S rank, but disguised as a speedrun rank. The point system directly affects the timer, makes it really easy to solve in your head if you want to do a certain strat, see if it's worth it. You know, blowing this guy up gives me an extra 0.5 seconds on my score compared to getting a headshot, but how much time does it actually take me to change my route and add that in? And it also doesn't have the annoying hand-holding like Neon White. You actually have to figure the route out for yourself. 77p Eggwife. It's very embarrassing. This is currently one of my favorite games of all time. The humor of this game is very crude, something a 14-year-old would think is edgy and thinks it would make their mom mad. But it's just curious creation. From the flashlight to the giant testicle boss enemy that you only learn after the boss fight that they are weak to kick attacks. And for the game being what it is, I had a fun time exploring the levels, looking for secrets. I mean, the starting level in the apartments is so dense with different interactions that can be had with all the items in your apartment. And the second level, streets, giving you a pretty huge area to explore this time to get a feel for its setting, with the Brexit 2.0 on the rise. I think the issue with most comedy games is due to how subjective comedy is. The only comedy game people didn't shit on is the Stanley Parable, and I don't think it was funny as something like the Ditty of Carmiana or Boredom or even this 77p Eggwife. It's a difficult genre that does not pull in the crowds, and I respect every dev that attempts to try and make a funny game, because not many people do. Skin Deep. The game definitely still keeps the fun and interesting style from Quadrilateral Cowboy that I love. The only real difference art-wise is that people are not made of rectangles anymore. I find the game pretty enjoyable. The save system is pretty easy to treat just as scummy as save loading in a normal InSim, but still limiting enough to make me consider not spending 20 seconds to backtrack and save the game. I think the game may suffer a little bit from the InSim elements due to when there are 100 ways to solve a problem, it's not a real hard problem to solve. Postal 2. My first few playthroughs of this game, I never really explored much further than the areas I needed to go for the missions. But my most recent playthrough, I made it my mission to really try and wander everywhere it would let me before continuing the main story. And there are so many little areas that I never even knew existed until recently. I mean, I've speedran this game before and I didn't even know about the fucking circus, or the terrorist hideout, or the land of cats. This game was more than I had previously thought, and my whimsy to explore has improved my opinion about this game and the wonder in my heart. Al Gore would have won if they didn't make the worst ballot in the history of our world. Prey, 2019. I'll be honest with you, I did not finish this game. the spreadsheet wants me to write a review on it because of how many hours I have in it. So I'll tell you that what I have played was fine, I guess. It's a good ImSim, but I think I've played the game wrong. I have so much medical utility. Do not get me started on inventory sizes on games with junk loot. It does not encourage me to think about what I do or don't want. All I do is just take 200 trips between where the junk is and the scrap machine. One of the worst parts of System Shock that should have died in the 90s. Yeah, so that's it. Those are the 10, in no real particular order. I can tell now that a lot of them are really poorly written. Also, I do a bad job reading the script. It's very clear I'm reading words on screen. But I want to see how this turns out as a starting point. I'm just going to put basic B-roll. I'm going to be lazy. I want this video to just exist so I can have a starting point to make something better. If anyone has anything interesting to say, such as what could be improved on, which is a lot, that would be really cool and awesome if you were to tell me, like, what parts you thought were epic in terms of how I told something, and what parts you thought were cringe and annoying. Because what I care about when I watch most reviews is sometimes it's annoying when they're talking about a mechanic in the game and they don't show B-roll of that mechanic, which is what's going to happen here. I'm not going to show B-roll of certain mechanics or areas I'm talking about because it's going to be very basic. And that's all. I just need this to be basic. I just need this to exist in our reality. Hope you enjoyed the video. I don't know if I'm going to put this on Cal_Beck or Beck_Cal. Maybe this one will go on Beck_Cal. Probably. I don't know. Alright. Bye. Bye. Bye.